I'm from London, but I've been living in Oxford recently, studying at Oxford Brookes, architecture.
I've also been studying at Oxford Brookes, and Sophie and I both represent architects sans frontières in the UK.
We found each time a project that we're interested in doing, and VPWA has been also interested in doing it, so it's definitely been sort of a partnership over the years. And the first time I met Hayford was actually, I was working in Accra for an architect, and got chatting to Hayford, and he was, VPWA was in its beginnings, and I had a project that I wanted to do, looking at school building in Ghana in more sustainable ways, and he agreed to help me contact a school through VPWA, and that's where sort of our partnership began. And it's just gone from strength to strength, and last year we were working on the ICT centre, the Youth Development Centre, and then this year is the workshop where we're looking at further sort of sustainable building and community participation as well. We've got 10 sort of international participants coming from overseas, and then 3 African participants coming from Ethiopia. And then we're hoping for about 5 to 6 Ghanaian participants. And the workshop's called Local versus Global, and it's looking at Accra and around Accra as a sort of globalising node for West Africa, and the sort of differences between traditional forms of architecture and modern forms of architecture.
Last year when we were here doing sort of early work on the Youth Development Centre, we did quite a lot. We did quite a lot of testing of rammed earth, but we were looking at alternatives to using concrete and cement basically. And we did quite a few workshops within the local community, and we sort of made a proposal that some or all of the structure for the Youth Development Centre could be built using that material. And so this workshop has kind of come as a product of that, really. We've developed on that idea. In trying to do this, we found a lot of opportunities, but also constraints. For example, introducing a new kind of practice or way of working into the community takes time, and you need to understand how to kind of approach that. I mean, just to go into somewhere and say, stop what you're doing and do something differently, isn't the way to go about it. And so this year has really come as a roll-on, as a kind of a continuation of the work last year, and trying to expand on what we found last year.
And hopefully a continuation of work in the future as well. So this workshop doesn't exist as sort of 2 weeks on its own. We're looking at some wider issues, and also how VPWA can expand its programme as well. But what we haven't mentioned was part of the workshop is a day symposium in Accra with VPWA, the Sabre Trust, another one of our partners, and UN Habitat, who are hosting the event. And that's a really interesting chance to get a lot of people together who are trying to do sort of sustainable development and construction in Ghana. In Darmang, where we're working, a number of the local elders have actually expressed a lot of interest in what we're doing, and supported us on that. But when you're working on site and you might be suggesting using earth, then people do associate sort of building with earth as a sort of signal of rural poverty, and so everyone wants sort of a modern house. And so we found one of the biggest challenges is using more environmentally friendly materials, but using them to a standard that has that modern aesthetic that everyone wants. So.
Something that represents progress and sort of, isn't a step backwards, but is a step forwards. So in that respect, that has been an opportunity as well as a challenge, which is quite exciting, really.